in my part of town. And your laughter's met with a threatening stare in my part of town. Everybody's broke, folks just don't care in my part of town. And even nuns and thinkers smoke and swear in my part of town.
Hi, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Look at this guy. I got John Diment here with me.
Everybody all right?
All right, John.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again. Now, excuse me, that was a chair, not me.
We believe you.
Now, me and John haven't met up since
Crikey.
a few years. Since
4 or
before.
5 years at least, I should
at
think,
least. And I met John when you come and played at the Rock Cake Cafe.
Yeah.
And
2 or 3 times. In
yeah,
fact. Lovely.
Yeah, you did, and it was a absolute breath of fresh air. Your music.
Thank you very much.
And I always said we'd get back in touch and do a video like this to catch up and have a chat with you. And here we are. So we're in your hometown.
Yeah.
Glastonbury.
Boy. Yeah.
Yeah. And John, I always wanted to ask you, what led you to love your music so much?
Good question. It's a great question. I was brought up on a farm about 3 miles over there. Not normally the most kind of productive place you'd think for being into your music like that, but my mum was mad keen into music, and she would sing wherever we went anywhere. And as a kid, I remember we drove about in a little old Datsun with a tape player with Johnny Cash, Jim Reeves, the Beatles, the Byrds, all that kind of stuff. And she was forever playing a lot of country music, a lot of 60s kind of stuff, because I was born at the very end of the 60s. Yeah, music of the day, that was just constantly music going on. My big sister was also a fair bit older than me, so she would play hits of the day. So I remember a vivid memory of watching things like Mark Bolan and Slade and things like that on Top of Pops when I was tiny little, before I could write or whatever. I remember watching these things and thinking, that looks good. So I've always been interested in.
So would you say your mum was your main inspiration?
Yeah. Mum.
Okay, early on,
got me trained in the ways, things like, especially Johnny Cash, but a lot of like country music like that. And that's even now that's what I'll sit down and listen to.
Excellent. Okay, so jumping ahead, where did the path take you? Was it?
Well, like all teenagers, I wanted to pick up the guitar and look cool, and
you wanted to be on top of the pops.
Be on top of the pops and attract the girls and drive sport cars and live the rock and roll lifestyle. And that's not how it turned out. Like most teenagers, I wanted to be brilliant at it the first time I did it, and then I wasn't. And you kind of you have a go at it, and some people put the work into it, and some people think it's just going to come naturally. I was probably somewhere in the middle. I did a bit of work at it, and I could hold a tune. I was all right, but I was never a shredder. I was never particularly brilliant at playing the guitar, but I enjoyed it, and I would always so I would join a few bands and stuff when I got a bit older, and was always the kind of rhythm guitarist in the back, kind of hiding in the background kind of thing. So
well, you're certainly not that guy now.
No, that changed.
I mean, this is everything you do now is your own band.
Yes.
Basically your music you write, all yourself or between.
Yeah.
There's a big fat pie, deep blue sky sitting over the Azores. While back your home when I'm on temperate zone, the rain just pours and pours. Your love every day just takes me away to tropical Atlantic shores. So let the gutters overrun, I just bask in the sun of the love of the one I adore. Let the rain fall down.
So did you go away to uni or something? Or?
Yeah, at the age of 18, I went off to the university in Sheffield, and I did a few kind of bands and music-y things there. Again, usually covers and just joining student nights, that kind of thing. Nothing particularly taxing. And it all comes with confidence, to be honest. Didn't push myself to do it. I was involved in doing other things that was far more important to an 18, 19, 20-year-old John. I won't go into details, but I'm sure you can work it out. But you know, but I was having fun, and I was doing that sort of thing, and it was one of the things I did rather than the sole sort of thing I did. And I've always played. Probably up until my mid-20s, which was a interesting time for me, because by that time I'd moved to Scotland.
Right.
And we're in the mid-90s now, so the dance culture had taken over a bit more,
right,
and some of my nighttime activities involved going out clubbing till
I can't
day.
imagine you as a clubber.
I don't remember much of it, so but I mean, the culture had changed and things had changed, and I wasn't really playing the guitar as much as I had done, say, in the early 90s and things like that. So kind of, to be honest, didn't really play much for 5 or 10 years. Really, it sort of sat under the bed, and every now and then I'd get it out and dust it off, and then you were a little bit worse at it, and and it probably took me to become a parent and be stuck at home again.
Yeah.
And suddenly I've got a little kid, and what am I going to do? I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and nobody else about. I'll get a guitar and have a little strum, and
nice.
Start playing nursery rhymes and start remembering songs, and actually taking it a bit more seriously and giving it a purpose.
Okay, well, we're moving on those few years then.
Yeah.
Who was your inspiration then?
Oh, I love me indie pop music.
Yeah.
I love me.
I know there's probably hundreds of people.
I've always listened to all kinds of music. So obviously like a bit of dance music. When I was at Sheffield University, late 80s, I was lucky enough to see bands like the Stone Roses several times, actually. Bands like Mudhoney, bands like the Cramps. Things that all kinds of things, really noisy, dancey, upbeat sort of stuff. Plus, the country and stuff I'd always liked, and the sort of folky, acoustic stuff. I was a big fan of Fairport Convention and Richard Thompson and things like that.
Yeah.
So you dip your
toe in all
all sorts of stuff.
Do you know, I was just going to touch on the Billy Bragg, because I thought, some of your material is very Billy Bragg.
Been likened to Billy. I like to think I'm a better singer, but
But even so, I've just been listening to a bit of your latest music, and there's a fair bit chunk of that in there.
Yep.
I hope I'm right in saying
no. He's a big influence. And actually, the thing I like about Billy Bragg, he's not everybody's cup of tea, I know, is that obviously he's known for the stuff he did in the 80s. He's known for the kind of one man and a guitar, and yes, that's very much what he does. One of his really influential album to me was an album that he put out in the early 90s called Don't Try This at Home, which has a whole load of stuff that has love songs on it, and songs about the environment, and songs that aren't Smash the Tories or whatever. He had a whole lot of things that perhaps you wouldn't, and there were a lot more layers and a lot more band instrumentation and things going on, as strings and whatever else. And he writes a lot more personal things. There's a song about his father on it. There's it's not the stuff you'd expect Billy Bragg to do, and that kind of that's a big influence on me. That album, that's a great album, there's that kind of thing gave you that particular album gave you permission, not just this and not just that, but all kinds of influences in there.
Okay, and you're, like you said earlier, you're now a family man.
Very
much so. You've got a couple of daughters.
Couple of daughters.
Okay, so where are they to on the music, sort of?
Well,
they get it off their dad, or
they've had the chance to come to some cracking festivals, and go to have some amazing experiences. One of them, I won't use the language she uses. She's 18 now and away at university. She's not a fan of the festival, should we say? and she's we often work at Pilton and go to events, and she says there's not wild horses will not drag her to the Glastonbury Festival.
Really?
And she says, why would I go to a place with loads of loud music I don't like, loads of people off their faces staggering about, and then go and poop in a wheelie bin. That's absolutely. And when you put it in those terms, you can't argue with the logic.
No.
The other one, yeah, she's a bit younger, and she definitely has got the bug, and we're now trying to tone her down a bit because she wants to go to Boardmasters and Reading and all these kind of places, and she's 16, and you ain't going to Boardmasters, you ain't going to Reading. But no, she loves the festivals, and she loves the music. She's down the front bouncing about. That's a joy. This year I was down the front of Pilton bouncing about to Sam Fender with her and singing along, and she's got it.
This is a song all about an up-and-coming area of Glastonbury. If you know Glastonbury at all, it's a place where you can buy crystals of all sorts, healing crystals. And if you're at the top of the hill, you can buy another kind of crystal all together. Four. We want number 4. Up the top of the hill is Windmill Hill, and it's a song all about that. For all you Windmill hillbillies out there. Happy! From the taxi stand up bus stop where we always went to deal, to the cottage shuttered corner shop where we first learned how to steal. It's bitter wind blows southbound from the high and lonely moors. Its fingers tap the windows and propose in every door. There's a morning sound from a flapping fence as the wind screams across the park, and a clanking chain and a broken swing that rattles after dark. It's that heating in the north wind, the Gary's winter chill, all the crying of the lost souls of the ghost of Windmill Hill. In the bastion battered phone box where you'd skin up after dark, you can hear the Friday sirens wailing a dozen guard dog bark.
Well, now we're out of that. Well, we're not out of that COVID time, but we are on the other side of it, so to speak. I think things have opened up for you again a bit more.
A little bit.
With the venues and things. Where's it taking you now? Because you've always got loads of material.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot going on out there. I can tell, and what you were saying to me just before we started this. You've obviously got a lot of material available to you. So where are you taking it now? Where are you?
We released an album last year called Tales of the Occident, and for various family reasons, not necessarily my family reasons, though you've got family, you always got something going on, but various other members of the band weren't able to really promote it in the way it might have. We didn't have an album launch or like that because we had care and responsibilities and things like that. So it was a bit muted the way we pushed that album. It's a shame because we were very proud of it. And you sit down and listen to it. We listen to it and go, yeah, that sounds good. So we're still kind of promoting that album. It only came out in June last year, and it's, as we're speaking, it's January. So we're still promoting that. So we've got a few bits and bobs coming up over the next few months, like 1 or 2 gigs a month, and then we get into the festival season again. Between now and the festival season, we are looking to rejig our set to include some of this new material. I was saying to you before we started here, I've got at least another album already written and ready to go. And then we've got to learn that. And in the learning of the new songs, you know, the jamming them through and the creating new stuff, we all fire off each other, and that's what you do in a band. It's not just me and my band, it's 5 people who are all great musicians that contribute something and go, oi, no, that don't work, let's do this, let's do that, why don't we try that? And when I bring a song, I really bring lyrics, and the rest of it's up for grabs, because you know, it's everybody else's spare time as well. I don't want them just to be you know. So we're going to polish that lot up and probably roll it in glitter as well, and get it so that we've got a few new songs to put in there. And yeah, if we can get it, to the point where we can maybe record an EP or an album between now and the summer, that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay. You've obviously got your home studio here, which is brilliant setup for just what you want. Where do you normally record your materials?
We did the last 2 albums, Axe and Trap in Wales.
Yeah.
Which is great. Ben knows what we were about. Excuse me. And we record largely live. We try and get a feel to give Ben a feel of the song. We record as much as we can live, especially the drums and things like that. And then we come in. Obviously, you need to do overdubs, and there might be the odd solo in there that needs to be redone. And we'll try and get the guts of it done live, because that gives it that dynamics on the on the album then, and hopefully it's capturing some of the stuff we've done live, and it actually sort of gives that live feel to it. We overdub the vocals because obviously you get vocal bleed and things like instruments bleeding into each other's signal and that sound. So the lead vocal gets overdubbed and some of the backing and things like that. But we're quite quick. We did excuse me. We did the guts of our 10-song album or 11-song album in 2 days.
Oh, right.
And literally then went over and overdubbed. And that took a few more weeks.
I think nowadays, I mean, those days of taking a week to record something is now probably gone, aren't they? Or things are a lot more efficient now, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And and also if you've got a really good studio engineer, the other place we record is Orchard over at Barton St David.
Yeah.
And they're brilliant as well. So yeah, between those 2 places, we're really blessed around here. There's some great musicians, and they're all musicians themselves who also run studios. So they've got an understanding of what you want, what you're trying to achieve, and you can crack on and do it. So yeah.
Okay. Now, your lovely wife Anne, always been a part of the band.
Yeah.
And is she still involved?
Very much so. There's a washboard. There's a washboard here. There's another washboard about. They're hanging on the wall there. There's various bits and bobs of percussion. And she's also done, and this is quite groundbreaking for her. Again, before we started this, we were talking about singing and playing, and that, having that confidence to go ahead and do it yourself. That's something I developed later on in life. It's not something you're born with. You've got to work at it. And some people, my hat is off to these young people who can take the stage at 17, 18 and sing and play. And you think, I'd never had that kind of confidence when I was that age.
Yeah, I know.
And my wife Annie is just getting to that point. So she has done a song on the album where she's doing the lead vocal.
Oh, excellent. That'd be good.
A song I wrote, and a song I wrote all about a serial killer from SHAPWIck. And some of the stuff I do is local history,
right?
Or local myth and legend. And in fact, we think she might be a distant relative of Diment's. Her name was her maiden name was Sarah Diamond. And she was known as the SHAPWIck Poisoner.
Really?
And so my wife plays the part of Mary of
she doesn't regress or anything into this.
No, not so far anyway. I haven't had my tea yet, so. But no, and so she did a fantastic job on that. We were in here recording it, and she did. She certainly didn't do it in one take, put it that way. She wasn't very in it. But as the takes got better, she became more and more confident.
Brilliant.
And now she says, we were talking about it the only other day, she said, I was listening to the album in the car the other day. I've got the point now where I don't cringe when I listen to it.
Oh, that's something.
And that is, you get to that point, you get to the point where you get comfortable listening to your own voice, or relatively comfortable, and you go, now that, and that's all part of development.
Austerity is biting, round here it's bitter hard. So bugger going to Clinton's, paying £4 for a card when you can get a pack of 50 for the price of a nice cold beer. We're having a proper job Christmas round here. And the kids all ask for iPads, but this year they're out of luck. Cause council budget deficits mean all our hours are cut. All overtime is cancelled. The cutbacks are severe, so it's a proper job Christmas this year. Oh, it's a proper job Christmas, a proper job Christmas. It's all so cheap they're giving them away, but you know they'll be broke come Boxing Day. A proper job Christmas, a proper job Christmas. Price too low and the quality's shite, but we're on 0 hours, so money is tight. Dad's even up the bags again, or at least that's what he says. But he always stinks of baccy when he comes back from the shed. There's a dozen different flavours of faith to keep his lungs and conscience clear. He'll have a proper job Christmas this year. And Granny loves the wacky, but she struggles to skin up. Cause her wrinkly fingers wobble when she's trying to break a butt. We'll get her a grinder with a ganja leaf on the grind up all her gear, and she'll have a proper job Christmas this year. Oh, it's a proper job Christmas, a proper job Christmas. No frankincense, no myrrh, no gold, just girt back tips, skins to be rolled. A proper job Christmas, a proper job Christmas. Santa's coming down a chimney flue with a bulging sack that's yellow and blue.
Okay, you've got one chance to work with another artist. Who is it?
Alive or dead?
Let's have one alive and one dead.
Right,
then.
okay. Johnny Cash.
Yeah, definitely. That's gold.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, he's yeah. Ooh. Jonathan Richman. Who know Jonathan Richman?
No.
Right, if you go back to the...
I don't want to seem ignorant, but I'm sorry.
But Jonathan Richman, we go back to... There's one person apparently who saw... Who was at more Velvet Underground gigs than Lou Reed.
yeah.
And that was Jonathan Richman.
Okay.
Apparently, that's the legend that goes with him. He's now in his mid-60s. He was part of the sort of punk sort of revival, punk revolution really, but in America.
Right.
Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers, they played a song called Roadrunner. Everybody knows Roadrunner, which Sex Pistols covered.
Yeah.
But his stuff he does solo now. He still plays occasionally with some of the Modern Lovers who are all kind of a similar sort of vintage. But he actually plays an acoustic guitar now. He just plays literally, it doesn't even have a strap on, like a nylon acoustic guitar next to a mic. And he plays stuff in Spanish, and he plays stuff in French, and he plays love songs. And he's probably my songwriting hero more than any other people we've talked about, because he sings songs that nobody else would sing. He's got a fantastic song called "I Was Dancing in the Lesbian Bar." He does a song. He's got a song called about Pablo Picasso, where he has a line that goes, "Pablo Picasso never got called an asshole, not in New York. Not like you." and just there's little things that you think that shouldn't work in a song.
Yeah.
That's just, but he'll put something in, you go, oh, that's amazing, and it's almost a sort of a naivety that he writes with.
Yeah.
If you look at his words, you think, I wish I'd written that. I wish I'd had the bravery to write that lyric, because it shouldn't work, but it bloody does.
I'm certainly going to look him up.
Yeah. Jonathan Richman and Modern Lovers. It can be a slightly acquired taste, but I've probably been listening to Jonathan Richman for 35 years, something like that.
Okay.
He's the one artist, and I've seen him 3 times. He very rarely gets over this side of the world. He's always playing in like California and whatever. He's the one artist I've considered and even looked into flights of going, right, he's playing in New York, I'm going to go and see him. There's nobody else on the planet I would go, right, I want to see Jonathan Richman again before I die, before he dies, before I die, and actually, bugger it, I'm going to jump on a plane and I'm going to go and see him in Pittsburgh or wherever.
Nice. Yeah, that's interesting. You never know, we might be able to contact him through this.
Jonathan, if you're watching and you come to the Britain, I want to support you.
Nice. Okay, thank you ever so much, because I think we're going to try and get together again, and we'll probably do a podcast or something and get some interactive things going. Maybe for the Glastonbury area, we might be able to put something out there live or something like that.
Yeah, why not?
And thanks ever so much for talking to me now.
Thank you.
See you again soon, John.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
St. Peter patiently waits to greet you at them pearly gates. Will you walk there with your head held high? St. Peter patiently waits to greet you at them pearly gates. Will you walk there with your head held high?
Thank you.
Thank you and good night.